Habit is a solution to a recurring problem in your environment. All right. So let's talk a little bit about breaking bad habits. There's if you want to break a bad habit,
Yes.
there are three different things you could do. So
Okay.
first thing is you could eliminate it entirely. So cut it out cold turkey. All right. Second way to break a bad habit is you could reduce it. So you don't necessarily stop it, you just reduce it to your desired degree. I would say a lot of people probably feel this way about their phones. It's not that I never want to use my phone. I just want to use it a little bit less or scroll a little bit less or whatever.
Yes.
And then the third category is you could replace it. So you can eliminate, you can reduce, or you can replace. Those are really your three options if you want to break a bad habit. And if you replace it, then you're substituting a new habit in its place, hopefully one that's more healthy or more productive. Habit is a solution to a recurring problem in your environment. All right. So it's a solution to a recurring problem that you face. Let's say, for example, you come home from work and it's 5:30 and you're feeling exhausted and tired from a long day. Right. That is a recurring problem that is going to happen throughout the weeks and months that your brain has to figure out how to solve. And for one person, maybe they solve it by scrolling on Instagram for 30 minutes. For another person, the way that they solve it is maybe they smoke a cigarette. For a third person, maybe the way they solve it is they go for a run. And you can see that some of these solutions are healthier than others,
Yeah.
but they're all solving the same root problem, which is I feel stressed and exhausted and tired after a long day, and I want to find a way to reset and kind of change my energy. Yeah, and I think the first step is not to judge yourself for it or to feel guilty about it. You don't need to feel bad about it. It's almost like sometimes I try to look at my habits almost like I'm going to the zoo. You know how you like go and look at an animal, you're like, oh, how interesting that they would do that. You know, like, oh, isn't that silly that they behave in that way? Like you kind of look at yourself with that lens. You're like, oh, okay, interesting that I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And you just want to see things clearly. And then once you see how you're actually behaving, well, then there are adjustments that you can make.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, you realize, all right, it's not my fault necessarily that I'm doing these things or that I learned this way to do it. But now it is my responsibility to make the change. The next level is you say, all right, I'm going to try to reduce the amount of time that I do this. One way that I try to practice this, so I have a home office and I have this little rule where I try to keep my phone in another room until lunch each day. Usually it ends up being like 9 to 11, 9 to noon, something like that. And I can't do it all the time, but I can do it maybe 70% of the time. And whenever I do it, I think it's interesting because it's like the phone is just down the hallway. It's only 30 seconds away, but I never go get it. And so I'm like, did I want it or not? You know, on the one hand, I wanted it so bad that when it was next to me, I would check it every 3 minutes. And on the other hand, I never wanted it badly enough that I would be willing to work 30 seconds and go down the hall and get it. And a lot of your habits are like that. They will curtail themselves to the desired degree if you just introduce a little bit of distance or a little bit of friction. The more that you increase friction between you and the behavior, the more likely it is to reduce itself.